It's Doug Cunnington here. I'm going to do a very quick live stream today. Again, I am testing software, so I'm using, you can see it's the opposite direction. It's right here, the Ecamm Live, and it seems to be working well. A little bit nicer interface, so I'm going to answer 3 questions. I'm going to make a quick announcement, and it'll be a quick one today. It has to be less than 20 minutes because I have a meeting coming up. I'm interviewing Linus, who was a success story earlier this year, and he has another site. He's now in college. He was a high school student when I talked to him before, and now he's in college. So we're going to get a little update there. A couple questions that I'm going to answer. Number one, from Tiff Wilson, who asked a question on the live stream yesterday, and Tiff asked this. It's about the KGR, the keyword golden ratio. And the question is it important? Is it as important for informational posts to be keyword golden ratio compliant? In other words, should we concentrate on KGR more so for affiliate post or informational post or whatever? Good question there, Tiff. Basically, you could use the keyword golden ratio for informational content or for product reviews, affiliate content. It really doesn't matter. In both cases, you will have probably a better chance to rank more quickly by going after a low competition keyword. That little bump there was Georgie. She bumped into the desk. So I see some of the good people there in the chat. Hope this works. We got John, we have Dan, George, and Anthony. So awesome. Thanks for hopping on here really quick. The other quick announcement, I'm doing a free webinar tomorrow. It won't be on YouTube, so you have to sign up. There is a link in the description. It is fivefigurenichesite.com/webinar. I tested the link. I tested the button, so it should work for you. It is a free webinar. I am not selling anything. There's no pitch. You can't give me money if you want to, unless you have some sort of back channel way to send me money, would be cool. Send it, right? But basically, I'm just going to talk about content. I'm going to give you 2 ways to add more content to your site. I'm going to talk about basically a way to outline content and plan so that either you can write it more easily or you can give it to a writer or an outsourcing company or whoever you want to give the outline to. And basically, it's just two very straightforward ways that you can start using immediately. And we'll go through a couple demos. I'll talk about it, stuff like that. All right. So you got to sign up for that. Again, there's a replay. Not selling anything. All you have to do is sign up. Steve Buchanan, longtime friend of the channel, says, funny thing about keywords everywhere. He's in an SEO Facebook group, and someone there had created a script to use keywords everywhere and basically exploit the generosity, which is why they started charging for it. So there's a callback to the live stream yesterday if you want to check that out. Next question in here is a meaty one. So I'm going to pause just for a second, say hello to some folks in the chat here. Hope this works. Says you found the channel when you started digging into affiliate marketing and building your site. Thanks for the info. Thanks for following and appreciate the support. Leave comments, like the videos that you're watching. Leave comments. Apparently that helps. Amin, again, longtime friend of the channel here and the podcast. Amin sent me a voicemail to be on the podcast. All right. So you could leave a voicemail, ask a question. So Amin's been following for a while, making a few $100 a month, really killing it. In my opinion, that dollar amount is not easy to get to. It takes some time, takes some work. So yeah, I'll be featuring that. And if you're unfamiliar with the podcast, it's called Doug Show. And recently I don't pay too much attention to the rankings because honestly, no one knows where they really come from. But the Doug Show podcast is in the top 200 marketing podcast in the US, which is kind of remarkable because I don't think I actually get that many downloads. But people must listen to them or something. I don't know where the stats come from, to be honest with you. But yeah, if you go to like Apple, like iTunes podcast, and you drill down to the marketing area, we're listed there. And again, like there's a lot of podcasts in the world. There's a lot of podcasts in the US in the marketing area. So to be in the top 200 kind of blows my mind, which is probably why I'm getting kind of a lot of emails of people that want to be on the show. So anyway, thanks for the support. If you're not subscribed to the podcast with like an actual like podcast app, it could help me out. If you go subscribe on like Apple, like on the Apple podcast app, subscribe on there and like leave a review. They say it helps, but again, it's so disconnected. I really can't tell. I'm just happy people are listening to it. All right. Oh, and Tiff is on here. Excellent. Thanks a lot, Laura. What's going on? You haven't been busier in your life since you've been implementing tactics for over 3 weeks. And quick note about I mentioned a webinar. There's a link in the description which should hopefully work. I haven't shared it in the chat because I think usually there's some sort of redirect issue. All right. And the last question I'm going to hit here, at least the last one that I'm planning on, is from, again, longtime friend of the channel here, Kai. Kai says this. It's kind of a long one, so bear with me here, folks. I appreciate the patience. Hey, Doug, have you experimented with Quora as a way of publishing content and getting backlinks, or know someone that has? Google seems to love Quora and answers to specific questions, and they often get ranked on the first page of results. I've been having fun with Quora over the past few weeks, just answering some random questions in my areas of expertise and not really pushing affiliate content. If nothing else, it's a neat way for me to warm up before sitting down to write an article, and it's good practice to type a concise answer to a very specific question. I know that including affiliate links in the answer is against the rules, but linking to sites that provide relevant information about the topic and even have affiliate links, and maybe they're affiliate sites, is perfectly fine. What are my thoughts on Quora? I think it's great what you're describing there, Kai. I believe that Duke, who I've interviewed a few times for the channel and the podcast, he's had this as part of his launch strategy. And as I look through, funny enough, I only have so much time and I have low interest in most things. I'll put it that way. I have seen people, for example, go to Quora, start answering questions about the keyword golden ratio, and then they're like hawking their gigs on Fiverr or Upwork, or they're just pushing their own stuff. So I was like, oh, I could obviously go in there, type in some answers, and like have relevant links back to my site, which probably could be helpful in that specific area, since I have a lot of content about the keyword golden ratio. I'm generally okay, but if someone does go and do research on the keyword golden ratio on Quora, then maybe they're slightly misled and they're directed to someone's gig that may or may not be worthwhile. To that point, I think Quora would be great. I think what you're outlining is good. Kai, please report back. Let me know how it turns out for, in the next couple weeks. I imagine you'd be able to see some either traffic coming through, which would be the highest value, right? Someone actually follows the link, they read a little bit more, like that's what you want. Even if you have like a no follow link from Quora, yeah, it'll work out really well. All right. I'm going to blast through these couple questions here since we do have a few minutes. Hope This Works says, do I use the Google Tag Manager to track affiliate links? No, I don't. And Dana says you actually got the notification on time today. That's awesome, Dana. Thank you. Thanks for note. I think like the more interaction and the more recency, or the more recent it is, which you have interaction with my videos on YouTube, the more likely it is for you to get notifications in the future. Hence, if I start doing these like quick, short live streams like this, and people hop on, they follow the link when they get the notification and all that stuff, it will probably pay off in the future. And that said, now that I'm using this more sophisticated software, this Ecamm it's all backwards. This Ecamm deal right here. I can inject videos that I've pre-recorded. I can do some fading of like an intro, all live. It's very sophisticated. So I'm just playing around with it right now. Next, Anthony says, for Quora, do I answer questions with a personal account or a branded account within the niche? So I personally don't do it, but I mean, I think either way is probably fine. It may be more authentic to answer questions from like an actual personal account, just because if it's a branded account, basically I don't trust anyone. So yeah. Next, let's see if we got any more questions. Pan says, oh, what's up, Pan? It's been a little while. Is there a video that shows how to put Amazon links into WordPress? Yeah, I think there are. I don't personally have any videos like that, but it's like I wouldn't. I would go to Amazon. Go to Amazon. They have tutorials about how to add links in. Should be super straightforward. And Alte, what's going on? Kevin, what's up? Mike, what's happening? And yeah, and Lord Devi says register the software. Well, that is a good point. I will definitely do it, but I wanted to make sure that it didn't, just totally shit the bed. Sometimes you get software, there's some conflict with another piece of software. In fact, it's supposed to work with my DSLR, but it didn't work. It didn't work off the bat, so I'm not sure. They just pushed an update, blah blah blah. Anyway, I didn't want to pay like $200 for a piece of software if it like immediately does not work for me. So I'm testing it out. But thanks for the tip. It's kind of a slick look. It looks official. Ecamm Live, and I'm talking about it too, so it's relevant. All right, just a few more questions here. Anthony, what do I think of using Web 2.0 backlinking? If you know what you're doing, maybe it's a good idea. If you don't have a specific reason to do it, then it's probably a bad idea. It's not going to help, and it's just going to be a waste of time. Probably a risk. Cleaning Things says, all right, I'm just going to read it. I don't know what the end of this is, but 52 posts, 6 months old, monetized with Amazon this month, 10 clicks, 1,200 page views last month, 1,000 this month, no link building. This is good. Bad, let me know. So I would think at 6 months, you probably should be at about $100 per month or so. 52 posts is quite a lot. I would ask why you don't have any links or why you haven't done any promotion. That's probably one of the missing links, pun intended there. And I would keep at it. Obviously, you're on an upward trajectory, right? If you got 1,000 page views right now, if my math is right, you probably are going to get 15% more than you did last month. So that's good. Amin says, what are my thoughts on the EAT thing? Is that something we should worry too much about? So I wrote a whole blog post on that. I'm sure one of the good folks in the chat can paste the link. And I wrote the post about almost a year ago. So you should be thinking about it in some capacity, I would say. Lord Devi says, do I use Amalinks Pro or do I add them manually? I generally use the site stripe, and I use Amalinks Pro a little bit. I tested the tool, but I personally try not to use plugins too often, even useful ones like Amalinks Pro. I know there's a lot of features in there that are worthwhile, but at what cost? And to me, I'm not sure it's like super valuable all the time. It's great because I had a VA use Amalinks Pro. They were able to, insert the links, do whatever we needed with that. Next, Cleaning Things says, should I buy guest posts for $500 for 2 on the Hoth? How well does it increase traffic and rankings? So I can't comment specifically on what you should pay for them or anything like that. I do use the Hoth. I encourage you, Cleaning Things, to check out the Age Site case study, which you can see some of the traffic results from using a service like the Hoth. And I could tell you, I haven't published this yet. Just got a guest post from the Hoth just in the last week, and traffic is like at all-time highs for the age site case study, which if you're not familiar, if you go to nichesiteproject.com/ASCS, you can read all about it. It's just a raw notes page, so there's no fluff in there. It's like just the facts, some results, what I'm doing, and links to some affiliate offers out there. The Hoth has been very good. I've also used a company called Loganics as well. All right. Andy says it's worthwhile to catch the live stream. I haven't thought of using Quora. Yeah, you should give it a shot. Marshall says, how can I get in touch with you for some paid consulting? If you go to nichesiteproject.com/hire-me, you should be able to find more information. I do some limited consulting only if I can help. And I ask a few questions before we sign up for any of that, just to make sure like I can help you with what you need. All right. Scrolling down. Something about software. So thanks for the tips, everyone, on that. Next, blah, blah, blah. Lord Devi is concerned about localizing links. You want to make a profit. So that's easy, man. You don't have to use a tool for that that's paid. You could use, there's a free Amazon tool. It's called OneLink. Works really well. Currently I'm testing out and using Genius Link, which helps reroute things as well. But Lord Devi, you don't have to pay for a tool, man. I recommend that you use the free tool first and then, go from there. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I have a quick question for everyone in the chat, people to watch the replay, since this is a short one, maybe more people made it to the end. So I have been toying around recently with not actually like joining Patreon, but having kind of a Patreon model. I don't need or actually want all of the overhead and admin costs and extra layers of a barrier really that Patreon puts up, but I could manage it all on my own. I kind of like the technology aspect of it. So anyway, the point is, would anyone be interested in such a Patreon type model? I'm not 100% sure like what it would look like or what I would offer, but as it stands, I have roughly like I have so much content that I want to talk about in a casual way, sort of like this. But I also realize that I'm putting out so much content on YouTube that like half of it gets buried. I end up with, some people are busting my balls on one side. They're like, hey, the content's too short. They're like, hey, the content's too long. Hey, I don't like this. Hey, I don't like that. And I kind of want to just work with the people that want to hear from me. I'm not trying to shove anything down, anyone's throat. I just want to make sure that I'm like talking to the people that want to hear it. And it filters itself out a little bit, but with a Patreon type model, right? Again, I'm not going to do Patreon specifically, but with a model where like I can do a live stream directly to the people that want to ask a few questions. I'm sitting on like 25 videos that it's relevant right now of stuff that I'm doing immediately right now. But I know that if I release too many videos in 1 week, no one will watch them. So anyway, let me know. Leave a comment if you're interested in that sort of thing. Thanks everyone for hopping on. And I think I saw Josh said, will I ever do outreach myself? Depending on what it is for, perhaps. In fact, I just started a little outreach. My VA is helping me out with it, but it's a very specific thing that we're doing. So you got to test stuff. You got to do things yourself. It's very expensive to use services. They do a good job most of the time, depending on what you need. But if you want to test some things yourself, you kind of have to, just manage it yourself, figure out the outline. I was working with my VA earlier and all that stuff. So anyway, I got a jet. Everyone have a great day, and we'll catch you later.